As I mentioned in the introduction video, each of you will spend most of the semester researching and writing about something that's important to you. In the coming weeks, we'll talk about how to pick something to focus on, how to narrow that focus down into an academic research question, how to use that question to find sources and evaluate them. We'll spend a lot of time talking about the ACRL frameworks for information literacy. We'll talk about how to bring everything together, how to organize your material, how to organize it into an argument, and how to present your research to others. The skills you'll build through this work extend beyond the classroom and are essential for being an informed citizen and discerning consumer of information in an era when we are surrounded by conflicting messages and agendas. Academic research is how scholars engage in conversation with one another and build on the knowledge of others to generate new ideas, insights, and possibilities in thousands of different academic fields. It's an opportunity to engage with and learn from the ideas, discoveries, and innovations of other scholars, and to use your own voice to contribute to that collective understanding. I know that might sound lofty, but in this class, the underlying purpose of the research project is to help you build those skills that you'll need to engage with the intellectual ideas of others with confidence. I guess what I'm saying is that the purpose of academic research in general is to build our collective knowledge as scholars. And the purpose of the project in this class is to practice the skills that will enable you to be one of those scholars. Probably the most important thing you need to know about the research process is that it's not a straight line. Most academics, students and professors alike, don't wake up one day with a brilliant idea, set out to discover everything they can about it, and then end up exactly where they thought they would be at the end. Instead, the research process is more like a journey of exploration in which your initial ideas might be challenged and need to be adapted as you discover new insights along the way. Research is an iterative process, which means that as you research, the things you find will give rise to new ideas, which, in turn, feed back into the data collection and analysis stage. Decisions made early in the research process are often revisited in the light of new insights or practical problems encountered along the way. That said, there is a clear starting point, and because this class is designed around the research process, we'll be focusing on different aspects of that process over the course of the semester. But as we do, just remember that you may need to revisit parts of the process or to jump ahead at certain points, and that that's totally okay. Roughly speaking, the first thing you'll want to do is choose a focus. This is an important decision because you're going to be working on this project for the next 4 months. Choosing something you're genuinely interested in learning more about will make this class decidedly more enjoyable and rewarding. So to do that, you'll do some pre-writing, brainstorming, thinking things through, generating ideas. The next thing you want to do is think about how you're going to organize that material, plan things out a little bit, sort of develop a plan of attack for your research project. And then the research itself begins in earnest. Even though you probably started researching in the brainstorming phase, this is where you really want to keep things organized and make sure that you are using your time efficiently and effectively by searching strategically and evaluating the sources as you find them. And then drafting, right? So you have to write the paper, start thinking about how you're going to, lay out all of those ideas, how you're going to incorporate some of your source material, start getting something into shape as early in the process as possible, because there's still a lot of steps left. Sometimes it's really helpful to sort of sit back for a minute, take a break, let your work rest, think about what you have, rethink some assumptions. Getting feedback from other people is always a good idea. So, asking me for some help or going to the writing center, those kinds of things. Revision is a huge part of the writing process and any research or writing project. Revision is really where the work happens, because what happens when you revise is that you figure out what you still need to do and how to do that, right? So thinking about what you already have, finding opportunities for new questions, thinking about new angles, reflecting on feedback or getting more feedback from people. doing more research, right? Like you might find that you have quite a lot of materials, but maybe you need to fill in some gaps or track down a key source. And of course, more drafting, right? So as you revise, you want to sort of incorporate those new ideas that you're coming up with, and keep things dynamic. And finally, once you've done sort of all of those other steps and looped back and circled around, the last stage of the process is editing, making sure that on a sentence level, you kind of have everything all together. And that's it. Isn't it enough? As I said earlier, it's important to remember that this process is anything but a straight line. It'll get messy. It will be research and the brainstorming and planning and the writing of the paper, and maybe more research when you get to the presentation, and revisions to the research question and the thesis all along the way. The messiness is a good thing. It's part of the design. It's there on purpose. It's productive messiness. Lean into the messiness. There may also be frustrations and dead ends. There might be moments when you hate your topic, even though when you wrote your proposal, you thought it was the perfect thing. But that's okay, because throughout all of this, we're going to be working together in the discussion forums and in other interactive parts of the class to find solutions, right? So you're going to find solutions not only for your own research, but for your classmates. And if you ever want to sit down and talk about your project, where it's at, where it's going with me, all you have to do is ask. I am 100% willing to meet with you at any point through this whole process.